Well, I know a lot of you guys out there are using mock scrapes to be successful when you're deer hunting. That's what I want to focus on in this video, specifically talking about the scent on the mock scrape. You know, there's some other folks out there online. A lot of you guys watch Jeff Sturgis. I do too. I love his videos. You know, when it comes to mock scrapes, guys like Jeff are going to say don't put any scent on a mock scrape at all, that no scent is the best scent. And you know, in real high deer density areas or next to a isolated food source of some sort, a food plot, you know, Jeff's proven that that can be done and that works. But there's a lot of areas where you're not going to have a lot of success if you don't use some type of scent on the mock scrape. And those scenarios typically occur in big woods conditions where you have real low deer densities, real scattered, random, low quality food sources, just sort of sprinkled throughout this vast wilderness setting. That's what I want to focus on today and talk about in this video specifically, are these big woods mock scrapes that we're going to be creating and putting near our deer hunting stands and taking pictures over. The scent we want to use, the best scent that I've found. And so as we get into it here, if you guys are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button, and if you get any value out of this video at any point, I ask that you do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button on it. So with that, there's two main reasons why I want to use scent on my big woods mock scrapes, okay? Because in those real big wilderness settings, the first reason is just that the deer density is so low. Parts of northern Minnesota where I hunt, there's anywhere from 0 to 10, maybe 12 deer per square mile on the high end. And there's other places around the country just like that. These are oftentimes big public land tracts, lots of clear cuts, swampland, and just vast unbroken forest regions. There's no food plots, there's no ag fields, there's no real confining and defining food source that pinpoints those deer and congregates them into one spot. Now in these big woods settings, of course we can find areas with more deer or less deer in them. So I'm not saying you can't concentrate them in any ways, but they just don't have that real high quality isolated food source. A lot of you guys know that I own private land closer to home. I put in food plots there, have a lot of fun with it. Really high concentrations of deer around those food plots. They want to scrape, they want to rub, they want licking branches all over the place around those food plots. But you know, the big woods is a whole different animal. It's a whole different ball game. And you know, let's face it, you guys, if we just stick a random stick in the woods, or just, you know, set a camera on some random licking branch in the big woods with real low deer densities like we're talking, that's not gonna work for you, because the deer have truly unlimited and infinite amounts of scentless sticks that they could wander around and rub their preorbital glands on, right? So we want to juice them up with a little something. And you know, in those really low deer density conditions, we need some sort of attraction to try to pull them towards that licking branch or that scrape, at least to get it started. And towards the end of the video, I'm going to talk a little bit about a perennial scrape, or one that, you know, you've observed deer using in years past. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video. But when we're in the big woods and we're creating a brand new scrape ourselves, where there's never been one before that we've observed, this scent is going to really help just create interest, create intrigue, and try to pull some of those scattered deer, as few of them as there are, pull them over to check out your mock scrape instead of the infinite number of other branches out there that they could scrape under. So that's kind of the first reason, is just it's the deer density dilemma. It's the deer number problem, right? In the northern Midwest where I hunt, I know like northern Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, we got a lot of timber wolves, just really scattered deer populations. And we need to do something to try to concentrate and pull those in to create interest in our mock scrape, at least for the first time, to get it started. So the second reason that I really like to use some scent, and I'll tell you guys the kind I use, and no, I'm not getting paid to use this product. I just like this stuff. But the second reason that I want to use a little bit of scent out here in the big woods on a mock scrape that I create is because it also brings does in. And Now we know that does and bucks communicate through primary scrapes. A lot of you guys will get pictures of does on your scrapes as often or almost as often as you do bucks. And interestingly, I actually get timber wolves checking out the mock scrapes that I create in the big woods settings that I hunt. I think the wolves are just following deer scent to the scrape is why I believe they're getting their pictures taken right on the scrape, but it will pull in those does. So that second reason why I want to use some type of scent on a big woods mock scrape is the does seem to be as curious about this as bucks do. And you know, depending on which scent you use, everyone's got their favorite. You may see more or less doe intrigue with that scent you put on there, but I've noticed a lot of times that I'll be getting, I would say, almost as many does, or not quite as many does, but nearly as I do bucks on these mock scrapes in the big woods. And to me, that's a big deal. If I can get a doe to come in during the rut and check out my mock scrape, you guys know what the bucks are after during the rut. So that's a big deal to me. So those are kind of the two reasons why I really want to use some scent on these big woods mock scrapes. It's just different than hunting in those real high deer density, high deer population areas. Oftentimes those are, you know, mixed ag conditions, ag dominated areas, or if you've got a food plot, for example, or any type of ag field, bait pile, stuff like that, whole different ball game. So I'll talk a little bit about what I'm holding here. These are the two scents that I use on my mock scrapes. They're both made by Buck Fever Synthetics. I just buy these online. I'll put a link in the description if you guys are curious or interested in this at all. Again, I'm not getting paid to sell these. This is just what I use, and I've had tremendous success with this stuff. The owners of this company don't know me from Adam, so I can assure you I will be paid nothing. And so anyways, this first one here is they call it a pre-post rut. And this second one, they're calling it a full rut formula. So I guess they claim the timing, you know, matters, kind of that pre-post rut and then the peak of the rut. I've just sort of followed that logic when putting this stuff out. This is just an example of what I look for here. This is a red oak branch, and I'm in this cool little grassy pocket here. And you know, where bucks like to rub on the edge of an opening, typically at a confluence of trails. And you know, when I'm out in the big woods scouting and searching for these things, I want to find truly that confluence of activity where there's, you know, that hourglass of trails coming together. Oftentimes the result of a geological feature like a swamp or something pushes them around one side of it, or maybe over here we have a brand new wide open clear cut. Over here we got a big beaver pond, and there's this neat little mature timber ridge as an example in between the two, and deer trails funnel through there. That's what I want to look for. And what I'll do is I'll just take these scent bottles, and I won't handle the branch like I am right now. I'm actually not going to set one up here. This is just an example of what I look for, but I'll just apply this scent right onto the branch. I used to use a dripper. I don't anymore. It just seems unnecessary. You know, I used to fill the little dripper bottle and all that, but this stuff, this is fully synthetic. And so this will hang on to this branch, and they say when it rains it freshens it up. And as far as my results go, I have no reason to doubt that, because I've had a ton of success with this stuff. And then I will put a little bit into the open dirt scrape down below once I create that scrape, and I put a camera on each of my mock scrapes, and I get these in proximity of a nice bull shot from one of my deer stands. So the pictures really speak for themselves in my mind. I've had tremendous success using this, and I've used other stuff. I've used Tink's Power Scrape. That's a pretty low cost mock scrape scent. That's worked well. This stuff seems to work the best. It's kind of expensive, but it's worth a bottle each fall in my mind. So now what I've been talking about and referring to is a true mock scrape. And when I say mock scrape, I don't know if everyone's definition is the same, but I consider that as something that I create myself, meaning there was no scrape there before. A lot of times in the woods when we're walking and scouting, a lot of you guys have probably found what some people call a primary scrape or a community scrape. That's a really good thing. But the truth is that deer created it before you did. So in my mind, that's not an actual mock scrape. That's just a perennial scrape or a natural scrape. And those are my favorite. If I can position a deer stand near a primary or community scrape that the whitetails created on their own, well, they just did all the work for me, and I don't need this in that case. That's the one exception to this that I want to talk about, is just sort of that distinction between you know, truly creating a scrape on your own, which I've done, and that's when I like a little bit of scent on there, just something a little bit exciting on there to jazz it up and draw a little bit of interest in, at least to begin with. That's a true mock scrape. When you find those perennial scrapes or a community scrape that the deer have created on their own in a big wood setting with real low deer densities, I have had success the last couple years just kicking that open with my boot or a stick, applying no scent at all, and the deer will take it over and adopt it. So that is a kind of an exception to this rule, and you know, that, but I view the two as two distinctly different things. A scrape that I create on my own, never been a scrape there before, is my mock scrape, and then those perennial or community scrapes are ones that the deer created, and in those cases I haven't had to use scent. But just as a general rule, I don't think if you put a little scent on there on a community scrape or a perennial scrape, I don't think that that's going to scare the deer away or ruin the scrape. In fact, it might just make it even that much better. And so I've never been afraid of putting a little bit of scrape scent out. I've been doing it for many years now and had wonderful success, and I'm going to keep doing it, especially in those cases, those low deer density conditions, those big woods conditions, and especially when I'm creating my own mock scrape from scratch, kicking it brand new open myself. I'm definitely going to be using a little bit of scent on those. And you know, this is one kind of specific nuance that I just wanted to drill down on. I know there's a lot of big woods hunters out there across the country who hunt in areas like I do with very low densities, and you know, there's a lot of other guys out there on YouTube talking about no scent and different things, and you know, at the end of the day, you guys, we got to find methods that work for us in our areas. And this is something that I would not even think about, making a brand new scrape in the middle of a wilderness setting with really low deer densities and not use scent. I wouldn't even consider it. So I hope you guys got something out of the video. I'm curious to hear what you guys have found in your areas. Again, hit that like if you got any value out of this video, and subscribe to my channel if you want any more videos like this. They're free to you guys. So season's almost here, you guys. Let me know down in the comments what you're finding and seeing at this point in the season. Until next time, take care.